Hey everybody, I'm here to talk a lot today about the movie that opened up called The Ritual, starring Al Pacino. And I figured the way I would handle it is first I would tell you a little bit of what happened before I went to see the movie, and then I'll talk about the movie itself. And then I want to come back afterwards and talk about some controversy and maybe even a little lecture. Okay? Let me go through it. First of all, after I saw a year or two ago, Exorcist Believer, that abomination, I said, I am done with exorcism films. It's been done to death. Everything's just a repetition of what we've seen a million times before. I'm done when it comes to The Exorcist or any kind of exorcism. Exorcism of Emily Rose, foreign exorcism films, copycats, done. But I found out that Al Pacino was in this movie, which was shot in 2024, and I'm an Al Pacino fan. And when I found out he's playing the priest, the elderly priest, I figured, I want to see Al. I want to see Al doing an exorcism. I want to see this movie. Now, usually when there's a movie out, I live in a place where you can see every movie. There's plenty of theaters, and everything's always playing in one of them. But this movie was not playing anywhere near me, and I couldn't believe it. If I wanted to see it, I would have had to go all the way into Manhattan. I didn't feel like going into Manhattan. So I found a theater that was a 40-minute drive, the only one even remotely close in driving distance, really. And I figured 40 minutes isn't that much of a journey, considering that I really want to see this movie. And I'll tell you, folks, I don't want to see movies anymore. It's so rare that there's a movie I have any interest in. And admittedly, if Al Pacino wasn't in the cast, I wouldn't even be talking here, okay? I would have followed my routine of no more exorcisms. But I looked up this theater, found a start time on Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. I'm a morning person. 10:30 a.m. is fine. I figured I'd be the only person in the theater, and that's the way I wanted it this time. However, all the reviews of this theater were horrible. The reviews were old reviews, like 6, 7 years ago. They said the place smelled like urine. They said the bathrooms were disgusting. They said the wallpaper was peeling off. There was all kinds of candy and soda cups and garbage all over the floor near the concession stand. Nobody ever bothered to clean this theater. One person who reviewed it said that there were flying bugs in the theater that she went to. And then when she looked at the back wall, the whole wall was full of insects. Well, I wasn't going to go to this theater, but part of the lesson here is don't believe everything you read or hear, and don't always believe everything to the detail, including my own critiques. Don't believe every critic, including me. Anyway, so after a while, I debated not going, and I finally decided, what the hell, I'll go to this theater and take my chances, even though it's disgusting. It's the only theater around. Turned out I read a report that said that in 2024, this theater was renovated and cleaned up. So I went, I took the drive, and you know what? It was an immaculate theater. The theater was immaculate. The bathrooms were immaculate. The seats were beautiful. There was no smell. It was perfect, okay? I would easily go to this theater for all my movie needs when a new theater film comes out, if it was close, but it's not. So I got that out of the way. So now I'm glad I went and took the chance. Like I said, when I got to the movie theater, I was the only guy in the theater. And I'm going to talk about the movie now. Basically, The Ritual tells a true story about a woman named Emma Schmidt, who in 1928 was maybe or maybe not possessed by a demon. And of course, this is the story that The Exorcist wound up coming from, and many other stories. This thing's been like handled, seems like 1,000 times already. Did we need another one? Well, I need another one if Al Pacino's going to be the priest. If he's going to be the exorcist, I need to see it. So that's why I went, as I said. Now, the film makes it clear. It says at the end of the film, it says that there's still to this day some debate as to whether or not this was a true exorcism or whether it was just medical illness, and that's what I'm going to get to near the end. All right. So first of all, the film, it takes place in 1928 in Iowa, in a small parish, and it turns out there's a younger priest there, played by Dan Stevens. The young priest's name is Joseph Steiger, and he's having all kinds of difficulties. His brother just unalived himself, took his own life about a month before, so he's facing problems and concerns and emotional battles. And then the elderly priest, and I'm not going to say this name right, uh, Theophilus Reisinger, that's the closest I can do, is Pacino. Now these were real priests, the older and the younger. These were real priests in 1920s, and they have the I don't know what word you want to use, the afflicted woman, played by Emma Schmidt. And I'm hearing that originally the real Emma Schmidt, who was suffering these symptoms, was actually middle-aged. Where, of course, in this movie, it's got to be a young woman. Of course, that's what they do. But okay, no problem there. And basically, the idea of the story is the two priests are at odds with each other, and they have to try to like settle their differences together, and in order to save this woman who is allegedly possessed or maybe suffering a mental illness. And that's what I liked about the movie. I liked the interaction. It was an intense interaction between Pacino as the older priest and Dan Stevens as the younger priest. Pacino is good in this movie, I'm happy to say. I'm an Al Pacino fan, and he puts on an accent. I don't know what kind of accent it is, but let's put it this way. It was effective, in my opinion. Never once as I'm watching this movie do I think, I'm watching Al Pacino here. No, I felt I was watching a priest with an accent. I didn't think it was Al. So that's what's important to me. The performance was good, and I liked the performance by the younger Dan Stevens. He was good. Now, also, another reason why I thought about seeing this was there's the actress Patricia Heaton. Some of you may know her from the sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond. She plays the very easily perturbed wife of Ray Romano. And usually on that show, all she does is fold her arms all the time and put her hands on her hips and look disapprovingly at her husband, right? And bawl them out all the time. Well, in this movie, she plays, you ready for this? Mother Superior. And she was surprisingly effective. I couldn't believe it. She was surprisingly effective. And I was waiting because I suspect that Patricia Heaton, judging by the Raymond show, can't help folding her arms when she acts or placing hands on hips. She was pretty free of that. Her arms were pretty normally loosened for this performance, but there was one scene where I caught her with her hands on the hips and arms folded. Anyway, I'm trying to put a little humor in here. So the performances were good by Pacino, Stevens, and Heaton. I liked the performances. Okay, that's what I liked about it. Now, let me tell you what I didn't like about the movie. First and foremost, the whole thing is shot, I hate to say this, with a handheld camera that kind of moves. It's not always that much motion, but it quivers around. It's not a stationary camera. It looks like one of those TV series like The Office or MTV, and I really wish that wasn't the case. And most of the scenes, the action going on screen, are up close, and you feel kind of claustrophobic. So, good performances, but not the good cinematography. I didn't really appreciate the style of it. And when it comes to the exorcism, there's nothing you haven't seen here in exorcism films. And in fact, you've seen less here and more in other films. Nothing here approaches the heights or the possessed, creepy activities like The Exorcist did. This is much milder in the things that this possessed woman does. And there's nothing really stand out in horror either. A couple of jump scares, things like that, but nothing really intensely overly horrific. So if you're looking for it just for like the horror elements, there's not really a lot of it there. And that's really how I feel about it. Now, the reviews for this movie going into it, I don't like to check reviews, but sometimes you can't help but notice. Everything is negative on this movie already. It's only been out a couple of days, or one day, I think. Today's the second day. And some notes here. Right now, as I make this video, there are 50 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a score of 8% positive. Okay? And over at the Internet Movie Database site, there are 582 reviews presently, and it only has a 4.6 out of 10 rating. So people are coming down hard on this. What do I think overall, before I get into the lecture and the controversy? I think the movie is not good, but I don't think it's a dog either. I think that I'm going to give it 2.5 out of 4 stars, which to me means above average. The worst I could say about this movie is that it's average at best, and the best I could say about it is it's above average. But people are really slamming it, and I just don't agree with it. Everybody's got their opinions, and they're entitled to them. But here's the part I really want to talk about. You know, what I'd like to know is how many of the reviewers, the critics out there, are too anti-Catholic and anti-faith. Now, I don't like going here. But I read like 3 reviews so far, and that's all I've read so far, and there'll probably be more. And all they do in their reviews is talk about how the movie is too pro-faith, too much God talk, God babble, and all this stuff. I don't know what they were expecting from a film about an exorcism and priests, but I notice there's a lot of that going around lately. Now, I said before that the movie presents itself as it is a kind of a debate in there. Is she just sick? Has she got some kind of sickness? Because this is the 1920s, and they were probably exorcising people at the time that really didn't need to be exorcised. But is she really, possessed by a demon or need an exorcism? Or is this just something they're treating that's a mental problem and she needs a doctor in a hospital? It can go either way. But a lot of the critics that I read and some of the regular people who have made reviews are saying they don't like that it's so pro-faith and they don't like that it's so pro-religion. And these people, I don't know, they seem to have a problem with Catholicism, They have a problem with the Bible. They have a problem with holy water. This is like a thing that's going on. I think we've reached a time where it's sad, very sad, that there's such a negative reaction to people because of this when it comes to whether it's the church or anything dealing with Jesus or anything. And we're in strange times. That's all I could say. And I'm not exactly, believe me, I'm not a Bible thumper. But I didn't like some of it that I've been hearing about negativity. Now, here's the thing. If we just go by the movie itself, the movie presents this with a lot of supernatural little things happening to the woman. Like, for example, it may be supernatural, it may not. Now, when the bed is floating and when the demon or the possessed woman, quote, seems to know the details, like, say, the younger priest, the fact that, he's emotionally distraught because his brother died just a month ago and she's tormenting him with that and taunting him. I'd like to know how do you get clairvoyance for mental illness? Okay, I'm just asking you. And I don't know how a person who's afflicted can climb the walls. The bed can float and stuff like that. So the way it's presented in here, it sure as hell looks like something supernatural. So I can't blame the elder priest. And I like the fact that Pacino, as the elder priest, he's trying to settle a score with himself in a way, because I believe there's a moment where he says he treated this woman when she was younger and failed, and I think he's trying to succeed this time, so he's got that stake for himself going on there too. Now I wasn't in the room in 1928 when the real Emma Schmidt was possessed, so I don't know what activities or traits or symptoms she was displaying. But if they're anything like the ones in this movie, then she could be possessed. You know what I mean? It's more than just like a person who's mentally ill and likes to yell a lot, or goes into convulsions, or maybe as their eyes roll back. There's other things going on here that can't be explained by medicine. And there are more things on earth. What is that? More things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are known in your philosophy. Something like that. So I don't know. Me, myself, I've never believed in ghosts. I don't believe in demons. But when I watch a movie like this, I pretend. I accept that there are demons just to get something out of the movie. That's how I work. Now, you may say I'm contradicting myself here in a way, because, why do I side here with the supernatural if I say I don't believe in the supernatural? Well, again, like I said, because that's the movie, and I believe in this version of the movie. Don't know what happened in real life in 1928, but in this version of the events, there's enough supernatural weird stuff going on here to suggest that they need God and they need help from above, not from the doctor down the street. Okay? I don't know why it bugs people so much. And, at the end of the movie, this is a spoiler. You can show it. Not a big spoiler. This is not a big spoiler, by the way, but judge for yourself. At the end of the movie, the girl smiles kind of a little bit and she nods that she's cured. She's been cured. Hooray. Well, if it's not supernatural or it's not demonic, it's not an exorcism, you can cure mental illness just like that with a priest and a Bible and some holy water and some chanting and and certain rites of exorcism being spoken. I don't think so. Anyway, I don't know how many people here have seen it, how many people are going to see it, but I'd like to hear your take on it. Thanks, everybody. One thing, like I said, I learned two things. Again, number one, judge for yourself what a movie theater is like. You know what I mean? All right, they said that the movie theater was renovated in 2024, so I didn't take that much of a gamble. I almost didn't go. Almost didn't go. I'm glad I did. And the other thing, don't listen to critics, including me. Judge for yourself. Although, if you like what I have to say about movies and you tend to agree with me most of the time, then I'm your man. So